add something. According to everything that I've read and direct testimonies, Paris was run well. Factories ran well. The city went great. The problem was no ability to defend against somebody like basically Versailles or the Germans. No ability to defend itself and prevent, in order to allow itself to continue.
Could this be because it's one isolated city, besieged by armies? Not necessarily.
Actually, no. No, I mean, you should actually look at the Russian Revolution. The Russian Revolution began as a single city, St. Petersburg. The St. Petersburg Soviet was the single most important Soviet, and really, although there was discontent everywhere, it was the site of revolutionary activity. I mean, this is something, and I'm not blaming you of this, but this is something 20th century communists or Marxists or leftists have forgotten, is the notion of a revolutionary city. It wasn't until, I mean, late in the game means months, but literally St. Petersburg was alone as a revolutionary power against the Constitutive Assembly, against the whites, against the foreign powers. And unlike the Paris Commune, they were willing to march and organize on Moscow. And then you had two cities. And they were willing to expand. I mean, this is the thing that most people don't realize. If the Paris Commune would have turned those militias into even a moderately well-regulated army and marched on Tulare, or you say Versailles, but I believe it was Tulare. Isn't that how you pronounce it?
Tulare city?
Yeah, the city. Because Versailles was the...
Tuileries.
Oh,
yeah, that's...
I don't know. I'm not French.
No, that's right in the middle of Paris. Tuileries. There might have been some... That's also where the King's Palace is.
Yeah, I don't remember...
So there might have been most, but when the armies came, there would have been no way for... They came from Versailles.
Oh, okay. Well, because that's where Napoleon III ended. It's a big, confusing mess. But there was, I believe, there was a month, right? Because the Paris Commune lasted about 2 months. There was a month, at least a couple weeks, in which the French armies were held captive in Germany. And the Germans were holding themselves back against the communards. And even a makeshift army, like the Red Guards in Russia, could have marched on the capital, dispelled the constitutive, or I believe at this point it's the National Assembly. They keep changing. Dispelled the National Assembly, instituted a new National Assembly, deposed Napoleon III, and essentially made a new government. So
they were very civil towards Napoleon III and the Germans.
Yeah, and so
asking for money back, they gave it back to them, stuff like that.
Yeah, and so again, I mean, not to be overly critical, but historically, it doesn't have anything to do with being a single city. They, as a matter of fact, could have done this. And not only that, when it happened again, you had a revolutionary city like the Paris Commune, which was St. Petersburg. They took advantage. They did not let any opportunity pass by, and they did everything they could to secure the revolution. So, does that?
Yes.
Okay. And if you research more, we can always talk about it. Additional questions, comments? You said you had more.
Nate?
Yeah.
I believe mentioned something about the Republic of China not, or suppressing trade unions, and we're wondering, is that true? And in your opinion, do you think that accurately represents the proletariat?
Most trade union suppression, for example, Tiananmen Square, big trade unionist suppression. I'm going to get in a lot of trouble because this is going online, and the other anti-revisionists are not going to like me talking about this. But I don't view anything after Mao as anything but restored capitalism, state capitalism. Is it better as a system than pure on capitalism? Yes. So I will not support the invasion of the People's Republic of China or anything like that. But does it accurately represent the dictatorship of the proletariat? Absolutely not. For me personally, the dictatorship of the proletariat in China ends when Mao disbands the Shanghai Commune. He declared the Cultural Revolution, worker control, self-management. The international situation became tense over the border of the Soviet Union. Mao chose to disband the Chinese Commune, or Shanghai Commune, because Shanghai was one of the main industrial cities. He believed that he would need it for the upcoming war with the Soviets. That was a bad choice. I think that's the moment, or at least the beginning of the end for the dictatorship of the proletariat. But any other time before that, if there was any suppression of trade unions, I would have to look at the actual instance, but I would almost certainly support it, because many time before that, there were very few industrial centers, and very few of them were unionized. So oftentimes, unions in these incredibly reactionary, not always, but a lot of times, unions in these incredibly reactionary countries actually serve a privileged elite. If you want to look at bad unions, look historically at the AFL-CIO, the AFL. This was before they merged with the CIO, so I don't want to slander the CIO. But look at the AFL, especially under Samuel Gompers. And he was a craft unionist, and the unions would exclude women, blacks, Chinese, even poorer white workers who didn't have high-paying jobs. So I would need to see the exact trade unions, but anything after 69, I would write off as revisionism and a betrayal of the dictatorship of the proletariat. Do you have specificities or?
No, just...
Okay.
What's revisionism?
Revisionism is where you revise the principles of Marxist-Leninism, or Marxism/Marxist-Leninism, Marxist-Leninist-Maoist, from universal communism and the dictatorship of the proletariat and the domination of the capitalists by the proletariat to just a social system where people are taken care of a little bit better. And so you have revised principles of universal justice, of universal class struggle, into just, kind of mediating things, making sure people are doing all right. And so that's the revise, and I'm against that.
Gotcha.
Yes, Paul.
All right, so you mentioned two people, Stalin and Mao, both, and you said that both of them, after them or whatever, or during their time, the dictatorship of the proletariat went to something else. It went to the dictatorship of
usually
capitalist class or bourgeois class or a bureaucratic class, but it went to a dictatorship of something else.
Yes.
So a dictatorship of the proletariat went to a dictatorship still.
Yep.
So if we take away the dictatorship of the proletariat, and we just have the people rise up without the dictatorship, isn't that better?
No. Look at the Paris Commune. Look at Spain. Look at the Zapatistas. No. When people rise up without a dictatorship, without special armed bodies of men prepared to defend them, at very best, the Zapatistas did the best job of it, of having this uprising. And they basically depend always on strong international support and strong Human Rights Watch to put pressure, specifically American pressure, on the government of Mexico to not go in and wipe them out. But no, at least for me, I mean, obviously everyone's going to have a different opinion, but if you have a strong uprising without a concrete plan for